The contents of Want My Baby Back, this media, and anything created or shared by Want My Baby Back LLC are opinions not to defame or make any accusations. Some names are pseudonyms. Please pardon the typos, slurred or misspoken words, and other errors. This content was created in grief. Copyright Want My Baby Back LLC. All rights reserved.
Day 51. My friend Steve sent me a bereavement card with advice to take care of myself. Many people give me unsolicited and often bizarre advice. However, I pay particular attention to Steve's because he lost a child suddenly as a young adult. I find great pleasure in taking care of others. I have been accused on many occasions of being a hovering parent to my successful adult friends. Taking care of myself is not something I've ever given much time or attention to. The major exception to this is when an opportunity for me to do something for a Constance or a friend as well. Constance and I went to the gym 6 days a week so she could swim. On warm summer days, we went to the beach or the water park instead. When it was cold, we went to the library and would leave a stack of books. I loved giving her pedicures, a process she tolerated but didn't adore. Much to the befuddlement of the staff at Red Door, I took her with me to the spa. Then, when a fun children's spa opened in Highland Park, I took her there. I arranged playdates with her friends at the kids' spa, which Constance smiled and giggled her way through. Since Constance's passing, I have not really indulged myself in any meaningful way. I am pressured by my job, by Constance's father to move out of the house, and by myself to attempt to thank all those who have remembered Constance. I work 18 hours daily in conditions I would never ask someone else to function in. I spent several days sleeping on the floor of my former bedroom because it was the only room in the house with carpeting, and I was working until I collapsed and then jumping up at 6 a.m. to do it again. I have this robotic work ethic that is only satisfied by the blissful moment when I'm putting a line through something on my to-do list. There's just so much to do, and I want it all done and over with. A low point was when I returned a box of wine to a 24-hour Walgreens because of its poor quality. Yes, I know. I was up at 3 a.m. doing maintenance in the house, and I wanted a glass of wine. Of course I did. The only open store was the 24-hour Walgreens, and perhaps with a mind hazed by days of painting and paint fumes, I made the completely mad decision to buy boxed wine at Walgreens. When it tasted like vinegar, I returned it and demanded a refund. You can only imagine the perplexed manager by this crazed combination of sobriety and cheapness. Snobbery and cheapness. With the house nearly complete, I checked into a hotel last night. I took a shower without worrying about upgrading the bathroom hardware. I watched Westworld without packing boxes at the same time. I ate a dinner that wasn't alcohol and sauce packets. It was glorious. I look forward to doing it all again tonight. In fact, I put it on my to-do list. Day 52. The first time I was informed I was someone's only reason for living, I said nothing. The second time I said, what a terrible reason to live. The third time, I gently pointed out other far better people. After that, when told I was their only reason for living, I stopped replying. Reflecting on this, I think about how my life was for and about Constance. I know it has been difficult for those who care for me to see me brought so low. We all find joy in the happiness of those we love. Now, I find myself wondering, is pizza a good enough reason to live? Is intercourse? Intercourse certainly is more difficult to get, and the quality varies far more dramatically than pizza does. Perhaps enjoyment of art or a good night's sleep would be enough reasons. If those were attainable, I'm not there yet. For me, I know professional achievement isn't a good enough reason to live. Recently, while asking me for career advice, someone said I'm the most successful person they know. My initial thought was, how sad that is. And then I remembered that he was very young and hence knew very few adult people. I might be the least successful person I know, certainly by any measure that truly matters. Day 53. I need a break. I had an upsetting call with Constance's paternal grandmother that concluded with me hanging up, but not before yelling, "No, we are not going through the same thing. You have 3 children that are all alive, and I have 1 child that is dead. Yes, we both feel bad, but it's not the same thing." Not my finest hour, but these days the bar is far lower. Taking a break, I put on my swimsuit and went to the pool's hot tub. When I entered the pool room, 2 little girls in the hot tub using floaties jumped out and went to the pool. I climbed in and faced the wall as a flood of several little girls came in chatting and playing. I started crying with loud, heaving sobs that I tried to hide in my towel. With all the subtlety of Elton John, the girls noticed me and started whispering. I thought they'd all left the pool, so I put the towel down and just sobbed. Actually, they'd left the pool deck to go to an adjoining billiards room to stare at me directly from the window. As they lined up along the window like sunflowers, they all stared at me with pained expressions of horror on their faces. I got up, wrapped myself in a towel, and began to leave. As I got to the door of the room, one of the mothers opened it and asked if I was okay. I was clearly not okay, but I nodded yes while walking to the elevator. I heard the girls whispering, "Why is she crying? What's wrong with her?" to the mother who tried to quietly hush them. My chest lurched in painful wails as I took off my swimsuit and got dressed. Then I left the hotel. In the future, I'll be restricting myself to early morning and late night pool use. Day 52. Once, Constance's father, Mark, said, I was like Rocket Raccoon translating Baby Group in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Not knowing the reference and with a busy, hectic schedule, I couldn't provide a clever retort. Today, I looked it up and, watching it on a loop, remembered all the times I would explain Constance's words, actions, or needs. I thought about the times when I failed her. I thought about the times when I hadn't. It is such a blessing getting to know your child so well, to be able to advocate for them in big and little ways. I feel lucky I had role models and friends to help with that. I hope I did okay by Constance. You don't really get a parenting report card. More to the point, you don't get do-overs. I know having her as a daughter has changed me, and losing her has changed me. It makes me think of those old action figure commercials that ran during Saturday morning cartoons and bragged, "Now with karate chop action." Only I'm with terminal deleterious vibes. Day 55. I went to the doctor for a routine prescription refill appointment. The appointment was the first available at 9:30 a.m. My hope was to minimize the amount of my day I would miss. The doctor arrived at 10:30. I'm glad I waited because after dealing with the prescription, he diagnosed me with sympathetic lupus erythematosus, also known as SLE. He wrote me a prescription and left before I could ask questions. During a break-in errand, I Googled SLE. It's an autoimmune disease that attacks your organs, which is a good thing because I've been thinking my immune system was strong enough to be a crazed killing machine. Turns out I was right again. Little sarcasm for you. It's not contagious. It's caused by severe stress and trauma, among other things. Symptoms of SLE include a rash or red nose and cheeks in the shape of a butterfly. Check. Extreme fatigue. Check. Pain in joints and the nervous system. Check. Enlarged lymph nodes. Check. Poor circulation resulting in cold feet. Check. And extreme sun sensitivity. Check. I know, all this sexy talk and I didn't even make you verify your age. Its long-term effects include blood clots, stroke, heart attack, and organ failure. Great! They better hurry up and grow cloned organs in a lab like they've been talking about my entire life because I'm going to need them. It turns out the constant pain and brain-smashing headaches were both a symptom of grief, and SLE. I'm looking forward to finding a rheumatologist to verify my diagnosis. My current doctor has all the bedside manner of a queef and hot pants. Day 56. I'm taking a break, or, quote, the traveling cure, unquote, as it were. People keep saying my grief is a journey, but it isn't. It's being smashed by a plane falling out of the sky onto my head. It's pulverization. I'm taking a literal journey. I hope a break from renovating my former home will be helpful. It may also pause me seeing all the things Constance and I used to do together everywhere I look. A slideshow of memories cast in sepia tone because there are no future ones. As a child, when traveling, I played a game called Horses. When whoever saw a horse first pointed at it and yelled zip to claim it. Whoever saw a cemetery first yelled, I bury all your horses in that grave, to reduce another passenger's total claimed horses to 0. The goal was to have the most horses at the end of the trip. Constance never played this colonization-style game. Instead, she had an iPad. If I'd had the option of playing an iPad, I'd have done that as well. Day 57. I've resolved to stop whining. It annoys me more than anyone else. Other people make allowances when your child dies. I know that I could do better, but have chosen not to. I've never had a patience for whining. Once, after Constance complained that I'd cut her off on one pizza, I regrettably said, you literally have no problems, unquote. It is a good thing I didn't have a fact checker following me around responding to my idiotic parenting declarations. Constance definitely had problems, serious health problems. Sometimes I want to go back in time just so I can punch myself in the face. It's funny, I still feel that way. In addition to whining, I'm going to stop my physically self-destructive behavior. For me, it is drinking and eating too much. People keep telling me many people drink or eat too much for far less worthy reasons than having a dead child. I can't control if I have a child, a job, a house, a car, a relationship, or even my life. If the only thing I can control is whether I drink myself into unconsciousness or not, then I might as well control it. I will continue feeling totally suffocated by despair for Constance. That will probably always be there. It's there right now. It will continue to hold my head underwater, burn my sinuses, blacken my vision, and turn off my mind. Day 58. I could write a Zagat guide for the best restaurants in which to spontaneously burst into tears. When I cried into my vegetarian sausage at First Awakening, my waitress comforted me with, oh, honey, I cry here all the time. Tears make an effective coffee creamer. They also get the waitress to leave a pot at your table just for you. I wish I'd finished working on the house before I left for this trip. Some of the work the contractors completed was wrong, and I had to go back and get someone to fix it. I really didn't feel fully free to go until the obelisk is gone. In that way, I am eager to return home and get it all over with. Then I will have nothing binding me to any place, no purpose preventing me from floating away. Day 59, Mother's Day. Historically, Mother's Day was the day on which I thanked my mother for giving me life. I would celebrate being Constance's mother by taking her out to eat. I treated her because Constance didn't have an allowance. She didn't need an allowance because I got her whatever she wanted, which was really more than using her iPad, using her gym membership, and her preferred food. I spent days searching the internet for grief retreats for Mother's Day weekend. I came up with a list of options, but found reasons to mark each one off. One required that I sleep on the floor of a meeting house. Another was led by 2 men, so presumably their experience being a grieving mother was limited. The program I settled on was canceled because I was the only registrant. I'm lonely everywhere. What is Mother's Day for a former mother, but another day of boundless loss? Day 60. I received a call from Constance's father's longtime friend, Linda. She was nervous because she couldn't get in touch with him, and when she texted both of us, neither replied. I explained he was out of the country on business, and I'd been traveling. Linda asked if we were, quote, getting back into the swing of things now that it'd been a while since our daughter's death, unquote. I explained that, speaking only for myself, I could say I was not. I was, instead, preparing the house for sale and taking short breaks to memorialize Constance. She said that, quote, made sense, unquote. The call ended, and then she sent me pictures she'd taken in Illinois. She's a skilled photographer. It's hard for people to know what to say, but I appreciate that they care enough to want to say something. Few words are as accurate as depression. You were brought so low you couldn't possibly bring yourself up to do anything as simple as calling someone. You go through the minimum motions like a robot toy on the last few drops of battery power. Day 61. A boy was playing beanbag toss on the front lawn of a business today. I first thought of my failed attempt to get Constance to play with beanbags. Then I had to use all of my strength not to go over to him and explain he should be throwing the bags underhand, not overhand. I resisted. He was having fun, so why should scoring matter? In the hole left by Constance, I have a lot of maternal energy. I have to focus on not using that longing to parent strangers' children. If Constance was with me, I probably wouldn't have noticed that boy, or if I had, it would only be in terms of how his actions related to Constance's. It seems every thought, every cell of my body is reacting to the world differently now that Constance is gone. And yet, on some occasions, I forget she's gone at all and want to go pick her up. Day 62. I had ambitious plans for the year. I was no longer going to... Day 62. I had ambitious plans for the year. I was no longer going to waste time trying to convince others to do what I thought was right. Instead, I was going to try and put in processes in place to ensure that things worked despite everyone else's disinterest in the outcome. It seems like there wasn't a week when one of Constance's teams didn't forget to put her special 10-ounce water bottle back in her sack lunch. This oddly sized bottle was the exact amount of water that was to be added to her powdered vitamin mix. When I tried changing the team's behavior with rational explanations, friendly reminders, and incentives, they still forgot the bottle. This year, I found 10-ounce thermoses and bought a dozen. They still forgot them regularly, but it was no longer a problem. In the same vein, they frequently forgot her daily report, so I put the form online with entries immediately going to me and their supervisor via email. The ease of use and the text reminder meant they never forgot the form again. To help with Constance's gross motor skills, I signed her up for golf lessons. When the park district canceled the class because of a scheduling conflict, I convinced a pro to give her weekly one-on-one lessons at the racquetball facility. Her favorite thing about golf seemed to be my loud cheers of delight every time she successfully made a swing. Much to the chagrin of her coach and others in the facility, after each successful swing, Constance would do a victory lap while I clapped and yelled and jumped excitedly. To increase her swim time and to help her get extra practice with personal care, we went from 3 weekly trips to the pool to daily trips to the pool. To get her to try new foods, I included a different snack in her lunch each day. On top of the Pyrex container, I put a note on painter's tape asking, "Constance, is this good?" She would try a bite. If it was good, she'd eat it all. If it was not, she would tell me in the evening. When she decided she no longer liked tortellini, I didn't argue. I just removed it from the possible things I'd make her for lunch. In every way, I tried to implement systems and schedules to ensure Constance's optimal success. I was convinced this was going to be the year of Constance. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I truly didn't know my capacity for love until I became a parent. I didn't know my capacity for sorrow until I lost that child. Day 63. One unique characteristic of losing a child is losing the physical touch of another person. The holding of hands when walking, the hugging of greetings and departures, the snuggles while reading, the kisses on the cheek before bed. When you have a small child, you're always touching them and they're always touching you. When Constance was little and I worked from home, she would come up to me and say, "Take a break," to get me to look at her and not my laptop. Grabbing my hand, she'd then say, "Come here, please," and lead me to whatever she wanted me to help with. If she needed me to open a child-proof pantry, she'd say, "Help me," which is clever because if she'd say, "Chips, please," I would have said no. But who can resist a request for help from a baby? A trip to the refrigerator or anyone else is improved mightily by walking while holding the hand of your child. With the exception of hugs from beloved friends, there isn't a lot of touching in my daily life. I appreciate the hugs from my friends as we grieve the loss of Constance. When my crying upsets strangers, I offer them a hug of mutual comfort. Still, my body wants to snuggle up with Constance and feel her heartbeat as we eat chips in bed and read together one more time.
Copyright, Want My Baby Back LLC, all rights reserved. The author does not authorize, scan, use, buy, or upload to artificial intelligence of any kind. Any depiction or representation of this or Constance's story will be met with all available legal remedies. In the immortal words of Snoop, don't start no, won't be no.